Hello everybody. I know it's Christmas time, and stop me if you've heard this one before, but I just got a package labeled Fragile. It is not from France, it is from GNU Religion, and so let's have a mailbag. Now, he told me that he was going to be sending me some stuff, but did not give me any idea of exactly how much stuff it was. I'm going to start pulling this stuff out of the box so I can get it into a manageable situation. Now, as many of you know, I've been getting more and more into vintage hardware, and he decided that he was going to hook me up. And I've tried to purposely not look too much at what was in the box as I got it out. But the first thing is something I recognize that he told me about, and he said that he has this, it's a Belkin OmniView 4-port KVM, and this one is pretty cool because it has PS2 and serial, and I'm guessing, oh, master slave, so maybe you can attach a bunch of these together. And I'm guessing that's what the dip switch is, so you can probably, you know, attach multiples together. I thought maybe that was a parallel port or something up front, or serial port up front, but it's not. So what he did say, and this is sort of an issue with all of these, is that sometimes the keyboard or mouse would lose connection as you jump from one to another. So he said I could either use it or I could, you know, I could scavenge it for these headers, which are kind of hard to come by now, these panel mount connectors and parts. But he was nice enough to send the cables too, which, I mean, that is, you know, that is just an awesome thing to have with it. Extensions and, you know, what are they? They're going to be all male-to-male cables and stuff like that. That is awesome. He already has them labeled keyboard 1, keyboard 2, video 1, video 2. So I am super stoked about this, and you know I'm at least going to try to use it as is. So thank you for that. Now, I do want to say that even the office cat is getting some enjoyment out of this package, as she has decided to hang out in the box. And let's see what we got next. I have not looked at this at all, so I'm going to just open up this Ziploc bag here full of stuff. Okay, I recognize this. This is the famous or infamous Slocket. And so the idea with these is I have a slot 1 motherboard. I think I showed you in previous mailbag, but the idea is that you can convert a slot 1 CPU to a socket FP370, PGA 370, which I think might be socket A or something like that. I don't know the exact name for it, but anyway, socket 370, let's just say. So you can convert from slot 1 to socket 370, which in some motherboards will, I think, allow you to go from a motherboard that might have, you know, been able to do a couple hundred megahertz all the way up to a gigahertz. And judging by these pieces, yeah, these are a bunch of the clips and stuff like that to mount this stuff to a motherboard. So the way this worked is it went into the motherboard like this, and then there were clips on here for your CPU fan and all that kind of stuff. And he sent me some various ones of those, which I've actually had to buy one of these. You know, the thing with the vintage stuff and why this is such a huge blessing is because you know, you can have a whole complete system and then all of a sudden need to spend $10 or $15 to get this kind of bracket. And so I am super excited to have this stuff, and I've been wanting to try the Slocket in my Project Legacy to see how you know, to see how far up I can get that system. So very cool, very excited about this. And next up over here we have, nice, this is what I was just talking about. This is a Pentium 2 CPU, and this is a 266, which is kind of cool because my other, my Project Legacy is, I don't remember if it's 200, I think it's 233, so this is actually a little bit better than the one that I had, so I can get a slight upgrade to my Project Legacy system without even trying to use the Slocket. So this was a weird time. AMD made a slot A, and Pentium made this, socket or slot 1, and the idea was that you're able to have the cache and the CPU, in relatively close proximity to each other and bypass some of the slowdowns on having an external bus. So this essentially it brought the cache closer to the CPU and allowed higher performance, but it was kind of a clunky form factor. And there's some weight to it, as you can see. Like, it wants to lean forward, which meant that you know, it wasn't hard for it to be putting strain on the motherboard. Hence that that apparatus to hold these things in place. So I'm very excited about this. So very cool. And then we've got some random RAM. And I've been starting to go through and testing some of the stuff that I have. These are 128 meg. These are, looks like the original PC 100. There's 256 megs. I don't have to go through all of them on video, but 128. And this is fantastic. These old systems, 256 single data rate. So this is before DDR, you know, so essentially you have SDR, and then we had DDR, and then DDR 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, all that kind of stuff. Now DDR 5, this is the granddaddy of that form factor. So we have some various 128, 256 meg things, and that is awesome. I remember this one. I remember that PC 100 sticker right there. So over here we have a bag of cables and headers. Okay, very cool. So let's open it up. As I said, these things are getting scarce. I've got a few of them recently, but they something like this, if you go on eBay, is going to cost $7 to $15 for especially one with a 5 1/4 inch connector on it. And so, you know, it only takes one nick to screw the thing up. And so this thing will allow you to have 2 5 1/4s, 2 3 1/2s, or one of each. So that is very cool. We have a PS2 to serial adapter to hook an old serial mouse up to a newer computer. Have this is a 9-pin to 25-pin back to 9-pin adapter. So that's kind of cool. So for adapting serial stuff, this looks like an S-video cable for video out. This is kind of the original, the OG HD-ish cable. This is an adapter for hooking a PS2 computer up to a USB mouse. And we have, that's an 80-pin, so this is like a newer IDE floppy cable. And another one of those. And I was just looking for one of these. That's funny. I think I actually just, you can see this has been slightly modified. But this is a VGA header for a motherboard or for, you know, some graphics cards had it on there. But the idea is that like some motherboards with onboard graphics, they didn't have, in the AT days, they didn't have that big backplane to put this stuff. So you would need a cable like this to actually take advantage of the onboard video. And I think I have a motherboard that needs this exact cable. So, I mean, GNU Religion is hitting it out of the park. And this is very undeserved for me, but I am very much appreciative. This is a Creative Lab CT4760, and this is a Sound Blaster Live. So these things were not cheap back in the day when, you know, they started out at about $100. And, you know, they started, as they commoditized, they range between 50, I guess 35 and, you know, up to $200, $300 for a sound card. But this one also has the Audigy external. So there was a little thing called a live drive that you could connect up to this thing and have external inputs, like 1/4 inch inputs and stuff for your computer. So that's what that is for. And I'm not sure what this little header is for here. This is a PCI, original PCI, not PCI Express sound card. So very much appreciated. Okay, we have a piece of foam. This is the plastic sheet they always say that you get from Canada and or from China. And looks like we got some more RAM. So this is 2 by 20 or 256 meg. These are together as sets, and I'm going to try to keep them as sets because it can be pretty difficult to match this stuff up. All right, now the office cat has been excised. We've got what looks like 2 processors in here. Let's see what we got. I don't want to drop it. Okay. Oh, what is that? This is an upgrade ware. So this is obviously taking you from one socket to another. Upgradeware XP-TMC. I have no idea what that is. I thought I had heard of all of it, but I guess not. So a quick search tells me that this is for like the Athlon XP range, and those things had locked multipliers. And the idea was that somehow this thing would allow you to run the newer processors in the older motherboards, and it would basically unlock the multiplier. So it wasn't for like adapting from one socket to another per se, but it was to allow broader compatibility. So I am definitely going to do some reading on that and figure out a little bit more about what that's about. That is very cool. Okay, let's see what we got here. More CPUs, man. This is awesome. Oh, dude, this is like embarrassingly awesome. Okay, this is a K62 500. So this is I actually, you know, okay, so this is funny, man. I'll tell you what, like I can't even explain how much you know, GNU Religion hit it out of the park. I found a motherboard when I was at that warehouse that was out of I don't remember what kind of machine, but basically it was made to have a K62 up to a 533 megahertz, but the only processor I had that would work with it was one of the 233s. And so he gave me one that would take it basically up to the full spec of what that motherboard was designed to be used for. And this is a 3.3 volt K62 500. Let's see what this bad boy is. Dude, where did he get these containers for all this stuff? This is, let's see here. This is an Intel Pentium 4 1.8 megahertz, 256 K of cache, 1.75 volts. A P4, so P4 1.8 megahertz. And then hold on, is that hold on, what am I thinking here? This is a P4 1.8 megahertz, but this is the CPU, so it's in some kind of adapter here. Would that? What is this? Like, look at that. You can see that this is the P4 CPU, and if you were to open up like any old Dell computer, this is what you'd have in it. But all of a sudden, we're broken out into this. So, I mean, would that be like Pentium 3? Would that be putting a Pentium 4 CPU into a Pentium 3 socket? I have no idea. That's going to require a little bit more research, but that is extremely interesting. I'm going to put that thing back in the rubber band and make sure that nothing happens to that, because I have no idea what that is. You know, it's crazy. Like, I mean, I guess not as much during the P4 era, but I used to build PCs for a living. So, I mean, I built thousands of them. So, you know, I would tell you that I had seen it all, but I guess I hadn't. This is another one of those... This is another kind of socket adapter. Where the freak, like, what was this guy hacking up? This is a ZIF socket, another PGA 370, but it's adapting down to a standard socket. So I don't know if this just takes a regular socket and makes it ZIF, or if, you know, I don't know if this is a 370 also. I mean, I don't think so. I don't know. I honestly don't know what this is or what the point of it is. Well, hold on, here's a box. This is a socket. It says Slocket, Celeron 370. GNU Religion, man, you've got me thinking now. Let me hold on one second. So I'm guessing it's something other than this. This is another socket 370, and so if we were to find the cutoff side, I mean, I don't think this is gonna fit. Yeah, that lines up. So this is a 370 to 370 converter, but I'm guessing that in this, with these jumpers, you get some multiplier options, which, I mean, you have on this thing. I don't know what this is for. This is a mystery wrapped in an enigma, whatever that saying is. Very, very cool, though. You better believe I'm going to play with it, that's for sure. All right, man, this is ridiculous. Like, I do not deserve this amount of fun stuff. This is a RAM of varying capacity and speed. Let's see over here. He did have a thing on here. So this is, oh, okay, right here. This is an AMD CPU upgrade, multiplier 5 to 24x with a cool jack, heatsink, and fan. So yeah, that's that XP thing. So the idea is they can unlock the multiplier up to 24x. So I'm guessing maybe for the 2.4 gigahertz. So we'll see. Oh, floppy drive. Oh, this is so nice. Okay, so you know I'm a big fan of saving these kind of things, you know, because they're just not making them anymore. And so this is a 5¼ inch floppy drive. No idea if it works or not, but you know, these things, these like cams here that push this stuff down are starting to break on a lot of these drives. The belts that drive the motors, if they have a belt driven motor, are breaking and things like that. So I've been fixing these as much as I can because I want the ability to read this stuff, and I want other people to have the ability to read all this stuff. And so wow, this is a Panasonic. I'm guessing by looking by the age of it, it's probably a high density 1.2 meg floppy drive. So very, very cool. And then we have its counterpart, the 3.5 inch. And that's got to be a 1.4 meg. It's way too new. So a 1.4 meg, 3.5 inch Samsung floppy. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous, people. Okay, and this says 486, 386, socket 7, old DRAM. This is heavy. I mean, we're talking pounds. And oh my gosh. Like, dude, what did you do? This is ridiculous. I mean, this stuff is so hard to come by. Like, it's not that you can't buy it on eBay, but when you get a motherboard, like, for one thing, it's expensive. Like, just go out and buy a single one of these. But when you go through a motherboard, like, you know, you don't know if the RAM's bad or the processor's bad or, you know, what's bad. So having multiple things to check it against. So, I mean, 2 gigabytes of DDR4 or DDR2. We've got DDR2. We have piles of like PC 133 stuff and 512 meg DDR. Holy frick. What is this? What is it? Oh, okay, sweet. So this was the thing back in the day. You know, your computer would be limited on RAM slots, and this was, these are slightly bigger RAM slots because they've got the notch in the middle. So this would be like a 72-pin sim. And let's say, so I'll give you an example. When I bought my first 386, 1 megabyte of RAM was about $120, and eventually, you know, during the times, the mega RAM would go down to about $40, 32 to $40. But so to have, if you had 4 or 16 megs of these 30-pin sims, like that was a valuable asset. And so what they did when they converted over to the 72-pin sims, they made these adapters so that you could actually stack your RAM together and pop it in there and reuse it. And like, you know, it's not like today. That was a significant amount of money at the time. And, you know, it was almost unobtainium at a reasonable price. So we got some DDR2. What the frick, man? 3 sets of 4 12 by 1 meg 30-pin sims. I mean, this is, if you had a 386 in the day, like you might get 4 256 megs or 2 1 meg sims. And I mean, you're talking weeks of salary to go out there and upgrade that to 8 or 12 megs. It was serious. More 30-pin sims. Oh my gosh. Like, 4 meg FP unmatched. So these are more 30-pin sims. I don't want to open that up until I get it. But dude, oh man, this is ridiculous. 1 meg 30-pin sims, fast page, parity memory 1x9. There was some 1x8 RAM and some 1x9 RAM. So these are parity sims. Goodness, more 30-pin sims. Oh, dude. More 30-pin sims? Like, who has this stuff? 256, this is what I was saying. So if you bought a 386 SX computer, you had these 8 sticks of RAM. And that was, you know, probably 4 sticks of RAM with 1 meg. And if you're really balling out with maybe a 20 megahertz, you'd have 8 of these 256s. So that was incredible. We've got, oh, I thought that was just coolers. Hold on, I'll come back to that in a second. What in the world? VIA C3 processor, 100 by 9. So it's a 900 megahertz VIA processor. Let me open this up. Dude, this is insane. Another VIA 900 processor. This would be, I'm guessing, yeah, I mean, it'd have to be like a Pentium, you know, socket. I don't know. I don't honestly know what socket that would go in. Let me put this back the other way. Where was what in the world? IBM? So an IBM Pr166. I don't think I ever had one of these. I feel like they were basically Cyrix, had the same processor. Somebody had the same processor as IBM, and this was not unique to just IBM, but this is the Pr166 Plus, the processor rating, or I guess they just called it the P166 Plus. So they were basically saying this was equivalent to a 166 megahertz Pentium. We have an actual Intel Pentium. Oh, that can't be 90. Is that a 90 megahertz Pentium? I forgot that even existed. Yeah, that is what I'm guessing is a 90 megahertz Pentium. That's awesome. Oh gosh, there's more under here. What in the world? Where did he get these trays from too? Like these were the trays they would deliver them to the manufacturer in. A K62 450. And this looks like a Celeron. This is a Celeron 366. Holy cow, dude. Oh, this is a VIA 933, putting those 900s to shame. I remember these barely, but I don't really remember who used these or what used these. This is a, what is this here? It's a Celeron, right? It's a Celeron 366. So this is a matched Celeron to the other one. You know, I've been setting this aside because I'm an AMD fanboy. Okay, let's see here. This is a AMD 4X, oh no, it's just a 486 DX2 66. So the this is when they're basically pin for pin compatible with the Intel. And we've got more, what, that's a 386. Dude, a 386 DX25. 386, man, like back in the day, I had a 386 16 and like the gulf between a 386 SX or SUX 16 and a 386 DX35, like this was a ballin' chip in the 80s. This is the CPU or the GPU, I guess, whatever you would call it, off of a video card. I'll see if I can pop one up there on the screen, but I've seen that before. There was like an actual square CPU looking chip on a graphics card, and this is a pull from that. This is ridiculous, man. This is absolutely ridiculous. This is a Pentium, I'm guessing 75? 75 megahertz? Let's see if it says anything on the underside. This is a, I'm guessing that's a 75 megahertz Pentium 1, and this is a Cyrix M2 300. So basically a 386 or a Pentium 300 type chip. Made by Cyrix, whatever you want to call them. We've got some more RAM down here. Intel Overdrive. This was, if you had a 486 and you wanted to upgrade it, this would take a 25 megahertz 46, I believe, and upgrade it to essentially a Pentium. This is an Intel Overdrive Pentium 50. This is... I have no idea. This is a, I don't want to try to delid the thing. I have no idea what this one is here. I'm sure there's some numbers. Okay, this looks like another one. This is a DX250. I got a little pin bent there. I'll straighten that out. This is another DX250, so I'm guessing it's another overdrive. What in the world? Okay, let's get the rubber bands off here. And this is a 5x25. So is that 120? Would that turn a 486 into 125 megahertz? I have no idea, but it looks like another overdrive processor. Now this is what I thought he was sending me. This is an XT power supply, new old stock, and I don't know when it was from, but it says new XT power supply. And anytime I get the chance to do anything new old stock, I'm gonna do it. There it is, a thing of beauty. This is a how many watts? 200 watt ka-chunk XT power supply. And anytime I get the chance to do something new old stock, I'm going to do it, because you never know, you know, if you buy something like this off eBay, I mean, it could have been run for, you know, for 20 years straight in an office somewhere, or, you know, even worse environment. And he offered to send this, and I told him I thought it was too expensive to ship, and he spent a fair amount shipping me this stuff, and I thought it would be generous enough to ship this thing, and I thought that was a lot. But all the rest of the stuff is just, it's insane. So I am very happy to have this, because I know one of the power supplies on the 8088 machines that I bought is bad. And so like to have this gem from, I don't know how long ago, does it have a manufacturer date or something like that? It actually looks relatively new, like somebody made this, you know, I mean, not yesterday, but somebody made this in the last 30 years as opposed to 50 years ago. But this is incredible. So I was going to add more things to the mailbag, but this is a lot of stuff, and I am absolutely blown away by the generosity. And again, I'm not going to make a ton of vintage computing stuff unless you guys really ask for it, but this is unbelievable and very much appreciated. So thank you, GNU Religion. Thank you to everyone who stuck through and went down memory lane with me, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. And thanks for watching.